So what if you could take one pill that would cure all disease? Wouldn't that be awesome? What if you could take one pill that would get rid of heart disease? That same pill would take care of diabetes. It would take care of any aches or pains, fibromyalgia. It would take care of liver problems. It would take care of constipation, whatever it might be. Would it be worth it for you to take that one pill? Would you be willing to take that? In fact, let's take it a step further. Would it be worth it for you to find out what that pill is and take action? Well, tonight's workshop, we are going to unveil what that pill is. Enjoy.
Anyone wonder what the wonder drug is? Have I been able to keep you in suspense about what the wonder drug is? You know, in order to understand the wonder drug fully, I want to take you back to an incredible set of books that were written. And in fact, they were so great, they even decided to make 3 movies out of it. And so I'm just going to do my impersonation of whoever it was that spoke this. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky. 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone. 9 for the mortal man doomed to die. 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. If this were to relate to your health, what would we be talking about here? Anyone have any ideas? It's kind of dark, isn't it? Dreary. What health profession could that represent? Anyone have any guesses? Psychology? How about the American Medical Association? Because 1 ring to bind them all. You see, if there was one simple pill that could cure diabetes, it could cure obesity, it could cure heart disease, it could cure high blood pressure, it could strengthen immune system, would anyone want to know what that drug was? Would it be a good idea to know what that drug was? Well, it's movement. Movement is that drug, or is that pill that will cure all those sicknesses and all those diseases. So my question for you is it possible for somebody to be like, say, 50 years old and have a biological age that's actually older than 50? In other words, be really sick? Yeah, but is it also possible for somebody maybe who, let's say, is 43 years old, Chris, and actually have the fitness level and actually be really healthy of somebody that may be 15 years younger? Is that possible? See, Chris and I have this friendly competition going on when we go work out, because I'm quite a bit older than Chris, but I like to beat Chris. And sometimes I do. Frequently, he beats me, though. But, you know, for me to be able to compete with somebody 15 years younger, I'm quite proud of myself for being able to do that. So, you know, proper movement has been shown to decrease biological age between 10 to 20 years. So literally, to be able to feel and act and function 10 to 20 years younger. Would it be worth figuring out how to get that right and proper movement in order for that to happen? Who wants to know that? You want to know how to move properly? So, you see, we don't stop moving. You like that, Patrick? We don't stop moving because we grow old. We grow old because we stop moving. That's the key. So lack of movement is the single biggest obstacle in health and longevity. It's the single biggest thing. So let's take, for example, the hip joint. Now this hip joint, it has incredible range of motion. It's a ball and socket joint. It will move great range of motion. But because of our lifestyle and the habits that we live, it has been conditioned to not move in that full range of motion. And so because it doesn't move in that full range of motion, then we start to get pain that can happen in that hip joint. It can radiate up into the lower back. You can actually also create the nerves that are being choked that are going down into the legs, or you can have nerves that are choked going into the colon, into the reproductive area. All those things can happen, all simply starting with not having full range of motion in the hip joint. Let's talk about the thoracic spine. Thoracic spine is the middle part. There are 12 vertebrae that are in the thoracic spine. You have 72 degrees of motion in the thoracic spine. 72 degrees. So if you can't move 72 degrees in your thoracic spine, there's a problem and you need to figure out how to address that. The lack of movement in the thoracic spine will cause the shoulders to start to come forward, create that forward head posture, the turtleneck, which will start to have, people can start to have shoulder problems because the shoulders are rolled forward too much. It affects self-esteem, it affects breathing, it affects the heart rate, all because it's being closed in on. And then, of course, a huge factor is that hump that will take place in your upper back just because of not having full range of motion in your thoracic spine. So as you move, as you move less, things tighten up. And as they tighten up, as their adhesions begin in the muscles, then the cycle just continues to get worse and worse until you change it. And that's the key, is it's up to each one of us individually to take self-responsibility and decide to change it. And so what I've done is we've invited Desiree and Jason from CrossFit Rio. Desiree and Jason, if you guys will come on up here. Let's give them a hand for being here. So they're the owners of CrossFit here in Rio Rancho. It's on the corner of Stephanie and Jackie Road. I have loved fitness my whole life. And I have ridden my bike. That's been my big thing. I started playing soccer a few years ago. I like to be active. I like to do fun things. But I've never liked going to a gym. In fact, I've really hated going to a gym. And so I've never really gone to a gym except for a little bit in college, but that lasted about 2 months. And so I've never liked going to a gym. But when I found out about CrossFit, by a friend of mine, and then I got hooked up with Jason and Desiree. I love going to the gym. It's a great workout. But what I wanted them to do is to show you some very practical things that you can do at home. That you don't even need to go to the gym to be able to do. Now they're going to be here available for questions afterwards, so you can talk to them about going to the gym. In fact, they've got a very special offer that they're going to provide for anyone that's here tonight. But the key is they're going to show you some simple things that you can do at home to increase motion, which will increase your life. So I'm going to turn the time over to them.
Thank you, Brad. Hi, again, I'm Desiree and my husband Jason, and we do own CrossFit Rio Rancho. What we do at CrossFit is basically high intensity, functional movements, constantly varied. So basically what that means is we create a workout for our clients. We have what we consider our prescription, and we adjust the dosage of that prescription to each person's fitness levels, abilities. Some people have certain inabilities to move certain muscles or tendons or old breaks that were never repaired correctly. So of course we work around that. But when somebody walks into our gym, they're usually deterred by the fact that there are no machines. There's one machine in there, actually I should say, and it's a Concept 2 rower, and that is for the people who cannot run, because you'll be amazed at how many people can't, again, due to inability, old injuries, etc. But that's it. Everything we do is almost something you can always do at home. Now, should that put us out of business? Possibly. But where we come in is making sure that people are doing it correctly. People are always deterred when I say we do a lot of squatting. My doctor said squatting is bad. Squats are no good because it can blow out my knees. Well, did you all sit down in these chairs? Did you do it right? Not necessarily. To prevent frontal knee damage, but you all sat down. And you stayed there, yes, but a squat would be just using the muscle to get back up without having fully sat down. You squat every day. You all go to the bathroom, so we know you squat at some point. So there's many, many movements that you do every day, and all we're doing is showing you the right way to do it. We tell people we do Olympic lifting moves. That deters many, many people, especially females. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. Not many people do. I've been doing this for 3 years. By no means do I look like a bodybuilder. But I'm not afraid to pick up my son and blow out my back, or go to the store and pick up a 55-pound of dog food and need somebody to come help me put it in the cart. I can do that on my own because I know how to do it without blowing out my back. Makes a huge difference. So Olympic lifting isn't always about bodybuilding. All of these things, gymnastic movements, cardio, we look to improve not just your stamina, but your ability, your balance, the way you do it. And that is where we come into play, is just making sure that people do it properly. We are performance driven. So majority of the people that come to us, first thing out of their mouth, I want to lose weight. I respect that. A lot of people want to lose weight, and that's okay. But being that we're a performance driven gym, that means I want you to get better at living life. I want you to be healthier. I want you to not get hurt. I want you to do things properly. With that, does that come the benefit of looking better, feeling better, and having the loss of weight? Yeah, generally it does. My biggest example with that, I'll tell females, because I guarantee my clients, in the first 3 months that you're going to be with me, you're going to gain 3 to 15 pounds. Guaranteed. Now, do you want to be a 9-pound kettlebell or a 4-pound medicine ball? Okay? Huge difference. Personally, I prefer the 9-pound kettlebell. So I don't mind telling somebody I weigh almost 140 pounds, but I'm okay with that because I don't necessarily, people don't look at me and think I weigh 140 pounds. So it's really just muscular, things of that nature, you know. So that's really a big thing I try and push people to concentrate on, but when the scale increases, that scares people. So as Brad said, we're going to show you just a couple of quick movements, just things that you can do at home, little things to stay mobile before we get to that period where somebody has to move us for us. So it really, it increases so much of your life and so much of your ability. This is my husband, Jason. I'm going to turn it over to him for a bit. He's going to have to speak up because I stole the microphone.
All right. So first thing off, we'll start off with some stretches. You can use any type of rod, shower curtain rod if you feel like turning it down, broomstick, even a jump rope if you pull it tight. You can use something. You use it with this. All right. This is PVC pipe. We have these in our gym. First of all, because they're cheap, and second of all, because they're not going to break on us very easily. So if a client messing around with one of these things, usually if no one's looking, everybody becomes a ninja with these things pretty quick. So just be careful when you're at home. All right, don't be turning to Ninja Turtles there. So we're going to just start off the shoulder pull stretch. You're going to get nice and wide on the grip. And you're going to come up over your head and back down, up and over. Now the wider your hands, or the further apart your hands are from one another, the easier this stretch will be. Once you start limbering up and you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can crawl in your hands slightly. A little bit goes a long way, however, especially on the back end, right? And your goal is to crawl these things in closer and closer together. This is going to warm up your chest muscles, your shoulder muscles, your joints. It's very, very nice, okay? The goal is to get closer and closer, okay? If it feels like your chest is going to explode out the front, you're going too close, okay? Widen your mouth just a little bit, okay? Very, very simple. All you need is something rigid. Like I said, it'll work with the jump rope. It'll stretch out a little bit and be a little bit easier to go around you to begin with, but a broomstick works perfect. So this shoulder pull stretch, we call these good mornings. You're just going to have this right back here. This is more just for balance than anything. Your feet are going to be hip width apart. You're going to keep your chest up. You're just going to go straight down and pull straight back up. And what you're using to pull yourself back up with is your hamstrings. And you're pulling your hips into place. So you're coming down, feeling that nice stretch in your hamstrings, and pulling your hips back into place. So not only is it stretching out the muscle, but it's also using the muscle to pull yourself back up. So it's warming it up and stretching it out at the same time. Okay? Anytime we're using movement with stretches, it's dynamic stretches. And they're very nice, especially at the beginning of a workout. So those are good mornings. And these next ones are called whirly birds. Get nice and wide in your stance. Come on top of the PVC pipe and twist. Come down. Come straight across your legs and come back up. just keep moving, just like this. And you want to just keep rolling straight through it. I have all my clients start off every workout with these 3 basic stretches. We do about 10 of each. On the whirly birds, we go 10 one way, 10 the other. So it's very nice. So we always start off with some light jogging, maybe some rowing, and then we go into our stretches. So
And
stretches.
the best thing that I'll say about the stretching, 1, don't rush it. Stretching should be a little bit slower. And 2, for those who have shoulder injuries and can't do all the way back, go as deep as you can and bring it back as deep as you can. Challenge yourself on your stretches. Start somewhere. Just stretching alone, such a good way to get the blood flow in your muscles.
Our medicine balls, they're devastating. Some of them, the nice thing about like our programming is the fact that we can scale load and intensity. So you can use, we have everywhere from 4 pounds to 20. The 20s are heaviest, and I think you can ask these guys 20s enough. We do everything with these. We throw these up at a 10-foot target. We squat on them, we throw them, not at each other yet, but they're nice, and they're very nice. So like and they don't they're not as unforgiving as like dropping metal on your foot either. So in that sense, it's up to you guys if whether or not you guys want to go out and buy medicine balls or not. But really, we use it for a target more times than not on squats. And that's to give us some kind of sensory feedback on how deep we're going. Okay, and you can use anything on this. A coffee table works just as good too. Not only that, but if I'm going to fall down, it's kind of nice to not fall down on the floor. Just sit on the ball. Okay. So with squats, this is what they look like. I'm going to show you what they look like, and then we'll break down the basic movement. Okay.
Do a sideways. A big thing when he does this and you're seeing it from the side is that hips and butt are very, very far back. People remember to keep their knees behind their toes, but generally they just think that that means to just really try and balance it. Push the hips back. So no matter how deep you're going to squat, even if it's just on these chairs, really just get a good base, push your hips back to find that chair rather than just sit down on it where our knees go forward. You're good, sorry. Kind of forgot about him.
So, to start off with, your stance, just outside your hips, okay? Anywhere from shoulder to right underneath. Your flexibility will dictate your stance on how far apart your feet can be, okay? If you're really inflexible, sometimes you need to start off a little bit wider, okay? If you're really flexible, some people come right underneath their hips, which is kind of nuts to see. All right, I don't like it that close. Feel a little imbalanced, just a little bit. All right. What else? Okay. So I'm sending my hands as far away from my butt as possible to help send my hips back. Okay. That keeps my knees in a nice position so they don't crawl over my toes. There's a lot of pressure on the front part of the knee. Okay. Send your hips back and down. Hands come up and forward, just like that. If you have problems keeping your hips back, add balance. Get a little bit of weight in your hands and send that thing as far away as possible. Okay. Just a little bit of weight, 5 pounds. And that'll help counterbalance you so you don't go backwards. But it's real important to send those hips back and down and then pull up and forward. And you're going to want to use your butt, okay? Use those glutes. Squeeze them as you come up and drive into your heels. A good analogy I always use for my clients is a paper towel. If you're to be standing on a paper towel, as you come up, you want to try to rip that paper towel in half. Okay? And that puts the pressure down and out. Okay? I always use it for, females seem to respond to that one better. I tell men, put a crack in the earth. All right? Try to split the earth in half as you stand up. Okay? Whatever works for you guys, you want the power going out and down.
Nice.
Questions about the squat? Pretty basic.
What if somebody has knee problems?
You can shore up the range of motion. Okay? If you have some like a taller target, like I said, a coffee table will be a little bit taller than this. A chair, you just come down, same motion here as far as you can, wherever comfortable. Squeeze your butt, stand straight back up. Back down.
And it's good Brad brings this up because a squat isn't about your knees. Really, there's no muscle that you're going to build around your knee to make it bigger. It's about the hips. Most of what we do, we stress to people, your hips need to be stronger. Hopefully when we get older, our hips are strong because you use them so much. So when you come back, and again, you're pulling forward, if this is as deep as your squat is, that's as deep as it is. That's okay. I mean, if we have issues, hamstring issues, knee issues, etc., hip issues, hips are where we want to work. Because if this is as far back as you can go, come up and squeeze. This is what we're looking to work. It's just the hip right now. That's what you want to keep strong, and mostly the range of motion.
So how long do you do that? Or how many repetitions do you do that?
I say if you were to start off, if this is your first time, 10's going to be, you're going to feel the burn pretty quick. Okay, pretty quick. And then just build from there. If you feel like doing another set of 10, absolutely get another set of 10 in there. And then kind of gauge it after that. It can be pretty sore. I remember I knew I needed to get some kind of leg workout because I always lift and do bench and do curls. You know, you always need a mirror for curls, right? And I played a video game once. I went to the mall and I was playing this video game. We had to dodge these bullets, and afterwards my legs were shaking. I was like, oh my god, I gotta do some squats. And really, if you find yourself in that situation where you're doing some, what most would consider common movements, and you find yourself sore, some squats are gonna help you out. And it takes no equipment, just a little bit of time. If you find yourselves getting really burned up front in your quads, like as you're doing this, you really need to concentrate on that butt. It takes a little while. You just go down there, squeeze your butt, drive into your heels, right? Try to push the earth away from you. Right? Real important with squats, especially when it comes to the health of your knees. Okay.
One last movement that I just want to go over real quickly, just because I know lifting things is so important on a daily basis. No matter who you are, you lift something. Kids, food, something. We all drop something, even if we don't want to pick it up, we have to. When you're going to pick something up, key to what I have found a lot of back issues come from is people reaching over and bending and picking it up. Number one, remember that our limbs are not as strong as the circle around your body. So when I pick up my son and he tells me, Mom, pick me up, he's standing about 5 feet, I'm like, well, come here, because I'm not going to pick up his 30 pounds out here. I'll pick him up right here. So just remember, hips and back out, chest high. If you're bending directly over, hips and back out, as deep as away from the body as you can, reaching down for it, keeping it nice and centered, close to the body, and then pulling up with the chest, bringing your hips forward. Again, you should not be bending over. Hear all those cracking? Yeah, that's not good. So again, stay on the heels, hips and butt away, pushing the hips forward to engage, bringing the chest up when you're going to pick something up. Okay, it's just one simple thing I really like to stress to people is if you're picking things up, get up to it if it can't come to you. Okay, because it's so important that you don't pick away from your body. That's when we have the ouch.
Our most common injuries in the gym for our clients happen outside of the gym. It's at home when they're messing around, they're at Sam's Club, throwing something in the car. They forget that a lot of what we teach them in the gym is applicable to the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Deadlifts, just like what Desiree was showing you, that's a textbook deadlift right there. Picking up kids, picking up dog food, whatever you're doing, as long as you're using your legs and you're just keeping that back intact. I used to be in the military, and we always had this saying, like, if you can take care of your feet, take care of your back, life is good. It doesn't matter what obstacles you have. Those are the two things. If one of those two things or both go out, it's bad day. Okay, so always protect yourself. Never get complacent with everyday objects.
And the last note for us is based around our high intensity. Now, again, I said that we are a high intensity functional movement, constantly varied. When you decide to work out, even if you do it at home or in a gym that you can do it, spending an hour on cardio, calming down, doing some weightlifting, think about it like this. Your cat, your dog, your kid runs away from you. You have to run, pick up their weight, but you don't stop and hope the cat will stop eventually and give you the time to catch your breath, or the kid, especially children, they never stop. I'm learning that as he gets older. So your everyday life is to run, lift, be able to do it in one swift movement without having been exhausted in one area before finishing the completion of that project, whatever that may be. One of my clients she's just a really special client to me. In the last year, she's had 3 heart attacks. When she came to me, she walked in the gym, and it was not due to anything health-wise other than genetics. according to her doctor. She's extremely healthy. She eats properly. She's been very proper her entire life. She said one of my other doctors had referred her, or I'm sorry, actually it was a beautician who referred her to us. She looked us up on our website, didn't like what she saw. Gave it a week, thought about it, came in, looked around. She didn't seem very happy still. We talked about it for a little bit. So I worked her into coming in to see me alone, which is what we've worked out for her. When she started, we couldn't spend more than 5 minutes together. That was just pretty much it. She'd become so weak and very exhausted. She hadn't used any of her muscles in quite some time. Now she can efficiently do a kettlebell swing of 18 pounds. She can lift up about 55 pounds on a deadlift now, and she's still just the smallest little thing ever, but she's a lot stronger, and she doesn't have to stop for at least 25 minutes now. So it makes a huge difference if whatever you decide to do, go from one spot to another quickly. I'm going to lift this up a couple of times, maybe just 5 times, and then I'm going to go and just jog in place for a couple of minutes. If you're doing it at home and you don't have a bike or a treadmill, something that costs a lot of money, you know what I mean? So I tell even a lot of my clients that are just starting really basic, you know, I have no money, I cannot afford this. Do you have big soup cans? You know, there is some weight in that, really. And you can get something going really good if once you get your squat down and you have one in each hand and you're doing a squat, just pulling it back and forth. You know what I mean? Anything you find around your home is something good to use to work out. Just try and build a little intensity in it each time. If you're spent at 3 minutes, you're spent at 3 minutes. But it takes that every day, just a little bit, even 3 days a week to start, to build up the strength and the cardio endurance. Makes a huge difference. So you'll feel a lot better every day. I think that's it for us. Brad?
Well, thank you. So we're going to build on that. We've been talking about gross range of motion, but having gross range of motion starts deeper than that, because it's when you work out or when you move, you do anything, it's not just about your body. It's really about your body and your brain and your nerve system. See, the brain cells will die faster when there's less oxygen and less blood flow going to that nerve tissue. So movement literally is what feeds and nourishes the brain tissue. And in fact, Nobel Prize winner Richard Sperry said that movement to the spine is analogous to the movement of a windmill producing power for a power plant. Let me say that one more time, and then I'm going to ask you what that means. Movement to the spine is analogous to the movement of a windmill producing power for a power plant. Anyone want to take a stab at what that actually means? Jessica?
The more you move, the more the blood will increase and your body will actually work more efficiently.
Ah, very good. So you've got to have that movement in order for literally your body to produce the energy it needs to function and for you to thrive. So let me explain that. It's a principle called mechanoreception. What happens is in the spine, there are these nerves, and the nerves have what's called mechanoreceptors, or receptors that are stimulated because of movement. And so as the mechanical movement takes place, there's a stimulation at that joint, at the bones, at the joints in the spine. It doesn't happen in any other joints, it's just at the spine. And as they're stimulated, it sends a message up through the spinal cord to a part of the brain, which stimulates another part of the brain, which creates ATP for the use in every cell in your body. So ATP, of course, is the energy that every cell needs to perform its job. So what happens is if you stop moving for whatever reason at the spine, the ATP production in your brain for every cell in your body has immediately decreased. So the key is to be able to keep movement in your spine, and that movement will create the energy for your whole body to be able to work. So the key is movement is not just about the body, it's about the brain also. Movement in the body will dictate the health of your brain, your nerve tissue as well. The brain drives what the body does, but The brain can't do what it's supposed to do without movement in the body. It's literally the fuel for for all the function of your brain. It's the supply line. So what I would suggest is that maybe we need to look for a different ring. If the ring that we're looking for that one magic pill that will cure all disease, diabetes, heart disease, or whatever, if we're looking for that one magic pill, but we're looking in the wrong place, maybe we need to start asking different questions. And maybe it's possible that we could start looking for better movement. And hopefully these exercises they were able to go through with you can help you, because one ring truly does rule them all. If you exercise and you have proper fitness and you have proper movement to all the joints in your body, you can have great health. So thank you for being here. Let's give CrossFit a hand for coming. They will be here if you have some specific questions about their gym. Now, Desiree, we're going to do that special offer. Now, I want you to understand, I love what they do, and that's why I had them come in today. But if you're interested in just trying the gym out, they have a trial offer to just so you can just try it and see if you like it. And what do you want to tell about that?
Actually, pardon me, we have some certificates as well for 2 weeks free. We normally do give 1 week for free, but of course we wanted to extend 2 weeks. We don't want anybody to sign up for something that they aren't totally comfortable with. Now, we do ask that day one is by an appointment only, so we can do a physical assessment and see where you're at. Some people are able to go a little further into the program than others. Some people need to be recommended for just one-on-one individual attention. I try to avoid that to save money for my clients because it is a little bit more expensive. I'd rather see you in a small group environment, but like the client I was talking about before, it's just not appropriate yet. So there are those situations. So we are giving 2 weeks away. It has our number and everything, and I'll make sure to pass one out for anybody who wants one. Just call for the assessment period first.
And on that note, just if anyone thinks, oh, I'm not a fitness person, I don't really feel like I'm in shape, I'll be kind of embarrassed or whatever. Most of you here probably know my wife, and my wife absolutely has hated exercise of any type her whole life. And she is definitely not somebody, she's very active because she's chasing 9 kids around, but she doesn't really work out. And my wife actually loves CrossFit. We've been going together for about six weeks-ish or so, 6 to 8 weeks, and she loves it. She's there at least 4 days a week. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Are you ready to take action? Are you ready to do something about your life and take that one pill, the wonder drug, the one that will rule them all? Are you ready? So here's your homework assignment. For the next 30 days, I want you to keep a log of your exercise level. Whatever you do, if you are a hardcore athlete and you are already doing something, just keep a log of what it is that you do every day. If you haven't been exercising, make sure that you use proper judgment. If you need to consult with a physician before you start any exercise, please do so. But just do something, whether it be just taking a short walk or a small jog or whatever it is. Just keep a record of it, and don't try to do too much. A lot of people will try to exercise too much the first day because they feel good, and then they get so sore that they'll take 2 weeks off and sometimes never even start again. So just take it easy, but keep a log so that 30 days later you will be able to see the progression that you've made, and it will empower you to keep going, to make this a lifestyle. The other thing that 30 days will do is you will develop a good habit. They say that habits take about 3 weeks to acquire, either good ones or bad ones. So I look forward to seeing what's going to happen for you in the next 30 days. And I encourage you to forward this link onto somebody else who needs this same information. Until next time, live your life to the fullest and with passion.